in the meantime. So what we were thinking when we first started thinking about the Dynamo user group was to structure it as half presentation and half workshop. The idea behind it is because doing just a presentation might become a bit boring. And also we want to encourage people to actually start using Dynamo. So what I do today is just I start with a very simple script to just control the height of some walls. And the reason behind that is because I'm just going to use the out-of-the-box nodes. So if you have your computer and you never use Dynamo, but at least you have it installed on your computer, you can do this script because you don't need to download or install any package. And then, so I'll try and quickly run you through the script. Just stop me if I go too fast because I tend to go a bit fast. But then the idea is I will just leave it up on the screen. And if you are keen and you like the idea, try and the people with the laptops, obviously not everybody has got a laptop, but if the people with the laptop are keen to share the screen with other people and we can kind of spread out, and you can try and replicate the screen on your computer. So that's the idea, and then at the end of this whole user group, you don't have to start moving now. At the end of this whole user group, we will be asking for some feedback, whether you like the structure of the Dynamo user group or you'd like to see something different. Because it's really, we're just trying, and it's the first session, but we're keen for feedback and to make it useful for everyone. So I'm going to be using Gravy 2017, and the Dynamo version I got is 1.3.2, so I'm pretty sure that you can do the same thing with any Revit version or Dynamo version. So what I got is just some walls, doesn't matter what walls. And then I'm going to click on new. So you're going to start a new script. And then, so like Amedeo showed over here, you have your nodes that you got available, and these are the out-of-the-box nodes. If you have more packages installed, the list will be much longer. And then you can just expand. So for example, I want a Revit node from the selection, and I want to be able to select all of my walls so I can control the height. So to do that, I'm going to click on the categories. And over here, I'm going to select walls. And then I want to get all of the elements of the walls category. So now I have two nodes, and I'm going to connect them. And now you can see over here that Dynamo is set to automatic. You can either have it manual or automatic. If it's automatic, it just means that as you add the nodes and you connect them, Dynamo just runs in the background. Whereas if you click on manual, it won't run until you actually tell it to run. Okay, so you have the run button. So because it's automatic, it's already run. And if you go with your mouse over the node and you go over here, you can see that there is a pin button, and you can actually pin it. And underneath the node, you can see what Dynamo has extracted. So these are all my walls. Then, let's say I want to get the height of the walls. So there's two nodes in Dynamo that I find are quite powerful, and I end up using them quite a lot. One is to get an element parameter, and the other one is to actually set the value parameter, so to be able to control it. What I also find is sometimes it's a bit hard to try and find the nodes this way, so you can either search up here, or you can also right-click on the Dynamo display here, and you can start searching for a node. So I want to get the node to get parameter value by name. So you can see that the input and outputs are often named similarly. So what I found when I started using Dynamo, because sometimes you start from the end, you have the idea of what you want to achieve. So it's sometimes easier for me to start from the end node and kind of figure out my way to the beginning of the script instead of starting from the beginning and getting to the end. And what I found very useful is that the input and outputs are often named the same. So if I have a node with an input and it says element and I don't know what to connect to that, I'll just go and start searching element and figure it out. So that's, for me, I find it quite useful. Now the parameter would be the unconnected height. So that's entered as a string. So you can either type it in as a string here. And then connect the two. And you can see I get the height of the walls. Or you can also use, like Amedeo showed, the code block. And with the code block, once you start using Dynamo, the code block becomes like your best friend, at least for me. You can just double click and you get the code block. And to have a string, you actually use the, what do you call it? Brackets, and I will get the same result, okay? Now, this is just to get the parameter value, but if you actually want to modify it, you can use the node set parameter. So if I connect again the walls element, the parameter name will be the same. And let's say I want to make them 3 meters. So again, I can use the code block. Or you can use, there's a node that's called number. Okay, you would do exactly the same thing. And you can connect that one. And maybe what I'll do, I just try that. And you can see that the walls have changed their height. You can also do, for example, I don't know, you can create a range. So yeah, I have 9 walls and I want them to start at, delete that one, the code block again. I want the walls to start at 1 meter. I want them to end at 10 meters. And the step would be an increment of 1 meter. So I can create a range.
So the semicolon is actually created like...
Yeah, so by using the semicolon, you can actually create multiple inputs. So they can all be in the same code block instead of having a lot of separate code blocks. I guess I should finish in 9,000. And then what you can do, because you have the same number of items of walls and the same, you got 9 numbers as well. So what you can do is actually connect the two. And now you end up with walls that are or different heights. Again, this is a very powerful node in Dynamo that I personally use quite a lot if you want to control the geometry in Dynamo. And you can control any parameter really. So think of one and you can do it. And then the other useful one is to export data to Excel. So if you just type in Excel, you should have a write to Excel node. And again, like now starting from the end, so you want to write to an Excel file, so you need all of this stuff. And if you go over like all of the inputs, it actually it's got some suggestion. So you need a file path to the Excel spreadsheet. So if you start typing in file path, you have a node that's called file path. So if I insert that one and I connect it, and then I'm going to browse, I have an empty spreadsheet just saved on my desktop. If you don't enter anything, it will still write to an Excel spreadsheet that's saved somewhere on a computer. I'm not too sure where. I'm pretty sure it gets saved somewhere. But you don't necessarily need to enter a path. And then you need to give a sheet name. So I'm going to use another code block and I'll just call it walls. and that's just going to be the name of the sheet in Excel. And then the start drawing column is just where you want to start entering your data. So it's like 00 would be A1. So yeah, I'll just do 0. And you can just connect from one input. I'm going to connect, sorry, for 0, I'm going to connect it to 2 inputs. And then the data, I want to, for example, get the list of the walls IDs and their height. So I'm just going to get the element ID. I will make this a little bit tidier once I finish, so you can kind of have a look at it a bit better. So I want the element ID, and then I want the height, so I can go and create a list. Lists are very important in Dynamo, so you'll end up having lists everywhere the whole time. It can be lots of fun, but quite a bit tricky at the beginning. So if I want to connect it to my list, sorry, I'll zoom in. You have a plus button, so you can actually enter more items, or you can take them off. So now I have created a list. Well, it's actually 2 lists, and you see now that if you try and write the data to Excel,
it's a list of lists.
Yeah. So the data comes in like that. So I probably want it like the other way around. I want to swap the rows and columns. So what you can do is you can use a node. That's the transpose node. This is another one that I personally use a lot. And then I'm just going to swap the rows and columns, and I'm going to write it. Where's Jasper? We need another table here for just a moment.
I'll get one next time. Oh, you can do it under, there's a shelf underneath. What some people do is they actually use maps underneath there. But yes. Good point.
Sorry, I kind of connected the wrong thing, so I think Dynamo is struggling a little bit. And here you go. So the override is just whether you want to, if there's an Excel spreadsheet that's already got some data in it, you can tell Dynamo whether to override the data that's already there or not. And you can see that it's created a sheet that's called walls. So again, very, very, very easy script. I can make it a bit tighter now, probably don't need that one. But just to show you a couple of nodes that are used quite a lot, which are the set the parameter values, or get the parameter values, get all the elements or category, also used quite a lot, and write to Excel. So I will just now leave it up here on the screen, and if you guys want to play around a little bit with it, have fun. So for next time, you can also start thinking about something that you'd like to see, because this is a very easy done script. You might want to see something a bit more advanced, or you might be happy with easy stuff to get started. So yeah, do you want to add something else just for? No?
If you guys are keen to test it out or try it now, plenty of space on. You can use the meeting room, any space out at the front. Otherwise.
Everyone's too scared to be very.
You're too scared to move. Otherwise, there's more drinks and nibbles. Use time to network with all the other people.
Oh, yeah.
No?
Actually, any question?
Sure, ask questions.
Can I ask you, what will happen if so basically if the 2 lists, sorry, if in volume you actually create a list that doesn't have 9 elements?
it would give me an error. So when you create the list, it needs to be the same number of items that you input. Or in this case, it's a bit. It would probably allow you to. It would end up being one list with 9 items and another one with 10. It would allow you here, but when you go and transpose.
It's not just like them, or not?
Yeah, it depends what you want to achieve, really. Like if you made a mistake, let's say I'm going to do it, I'm going to end at 10,000.
Yeah. Would it route the values automatically? Is what I'm
Write the values to
route the list automatically? Like in Grasshopper, there's something like that where you can just say true or false, and it would route. So if you, it doesn't make a lot of sense because in this case, always take out 1,000.
Yeah.
It can say the error.
No.
You can, no. But I'm not quite that related, but I also wanted to show it. Sorry. Just like,
We're talking about list length, eh?
Yeah, so I guess I'm just thinking like, in reality, in this case, it's always going to be the same because you're connecting the same list to the value and the same list to, you're generating all of them from value, but if you're picking up some of the elements from Reddit, and the list doesn't have the same number of items.
That's covered with the lacing feature, which is probably some topic in itself.
yes. So
Lacing is
to
a nice.
lacing. Yeah.
You see this lacing here, long and short.
That's, okay, exactly, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Do anybody wants to explain the lacing? Because that's the.
Not
So
for-
you say, oh, it doesn't work that way. Let's try and swap the lacing. Let's see.
Yeah, you should trial and error.
But I don't understand the logic behind it. So.
I had a good example of how it works, but I can't. Something along of shortest means if you've got one list of say 3 versus a list of 10, it'll take 1, 2, and 3 and match them with 1, 2, and 3 in the list of 10, and then 4 till 10 will be matched to 3 in the first list. Whereas cross product, I think, relies on you having a list of the same thing. Where shortest comes in, shortest and longest, I may have got that explanation somewhere on the wrong way, but it is along those lines where, depending on the lacing type, it'll match unequal lengths with either the matching corresponding numbers, or take one, so all of them, say 1 to 1 to 0.1 on list 1, so all items 1 to 10 on list 2, or 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 5, 4 to 6, 4 to 7, 4 to 8, so it'll sort of run out and just keep matching them up. I think cross product needs to have the list the same thing.
Yeah. I think that concept is quite important in any programming language because it really deals with how you're storing the data and what you're using it.
I was hoping for a pretty picture in the meantime, but no. So sorry, what's her name? What's her name?
Chris.
Chris, would you like to present the next time? Any other
But I
questions?
would like to raise one point in the forum. It's to do with packages.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that there's lots of packages out there, and some of them are very useful.
Yeah.
I've got half a dozen or so installed on my machine. There is discussion in the ether about how much we could or should trust packages.
Yeah.
There's obviously the chance for someone to write malicious code into packages. And I guess the question or the discussion point would be, how would an organisation like yourselves manage the installation or the use of packages? And is there an accepted practice where if you find stuff in a package that perhaps you don't want to necessarily install, that you borrow the contents of the package? Some packages we can pull apart and see the contents and steal the code, etc. There's a lot of understanding needs to happen around how you manage the third-party package installation.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your resources and possibly the size of your company. Personally, I'm going to tell you what we do at JustMax. So the packages are installed on a central library, and then people can add the path from Dynamo to the central library. But then people have the option, I guess, if they wanted to install a package on their C drive and use it. We try and keep the ones in the central library to the packages that we know kind of work. This is the list that we have at JazzMax, and to be honest, some of them don't always work. Like I find the bakery package is always a bit weird. Like sometimes the nodes work, sometimes they don't. That said, we're not using Dynamo that much that we're too concerned about it, because the reality is we have about 2 people that use Dynamo at JazzMax on a more regular basis, as in creating scripts, because other people just play the ones that are there and are available, but creators are just really 2 of us. So we know how it works, and we test our scripts and make sure the nodes work.
So to get with the player, you don't need the package installed to run it, do you?
You still do.
No,
Yeah,
you
still
do.
So before using the player, you still need to open Dynamo and make sure you got the packages installed. I don't know if you have anything to add to that. I don't think you can't. So if you install a package, you can't pick and choose the nodes that you want from the package. You get the whole package.
I found that if you come back to code 6 months later, often packages don't work.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
there's
you
also
not completely trust them and make sure you keep them up to date.
it's the pros and cons of it being an open source. So you get a whole lot of inputs and wonderful things from the community, because obviously the packages are done by people like any of us really that want to share something that they've done. We're not necessarily done by Autodesk people. So the good thing is they're there. The bad thing is that they don't always work. They're not always updated to the latest Dynamo version, the latest to work with the latest revision version. So you might have a script that works with Dynamo 1.2, but not with Dynamo 1.3 because the nodes don't work with both versions. So it's a lot of juggling and a lot of double checking. I don't know. JazzMax with, for example, Dynamo 2.0.1. I think we are now. It's been out for quite a while, but JazzMax we are still at 1.3.2 just because we're really struggling with Dynamo 2.0 because it doesn't handle the path to the central library of packages. So now we need to look into RT, having to run a script to copy all of the packages to people's machine when they open. They open the computer, and I think it's to do with it's not really to do with Dynamo, it's just to do with the .NET framework update, whatever. It's like stuff, it's not happy for me, but yeah, so it's a lot of testing and making sure it all works, particularly if you work for a big practice and you have processes in place.
One of the things I've done with clients is I deconstruct the packages, write down their fundamental Python so they don't rely on the packages, so they kind of stand alone. That gives you better control of it being reliable.
Yeah. Well, there are some that are quite reliable, like the ArcLab. I find it quite reliable. The guy that does the package is like, it's always like on time for you answering people's questions, development stuff. What else? The clockwork is also used quite a lot. Some of the nodes don't always work, I find. But yeah, there are some that I see like everybody's kind of got. So the rhythm, the Lunchbox, I think as well. There's spring nodes, everybody's got.
There's Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, everyone's got. So there are some that I use quite a lot. And the ones that I use the most are usually the ones that get updated also the most from the people that created them or tested on different versions. Yeah, but it's a lot of trial and error, so you just need to get in and crack it. Just never play with it. That's how I started. And if you don't start using it, you don't realize how much you can do with it. That's I think that was a big revelation for me, because you hear about Dynamo and you go, yeah, whatever. But then you start doing more script and you do it yourself, and you go, yes. Or you start using Revit and you have this bloody task that takes you forever, and you start thinking, maybe I can do it Dynamo. And because you've already done one, you can kind of, you're already a step ahead. I mean, it just, your mind just opens up to all sorts of possibilities.
Does anybody use Dynamo Studio?
Not really.
Not really, no.
No, Catherine used it a little bit, but
It
didn't really go anywhere.
Project Fractal was an online platform for exploring Dynamo definition and all different iterations from it.
I think, does anybody know the difference between Dynamo for Revit and Dynamo Studio? The heads are not moving. Yes, no. So, obviously, Dynamo Studio, I'm not sure I'm the best person to give the explanation, but I think Dynamo Studio, you can still use some of the nodes from Dynamo for Revit, but it doesn't really talk to Revit. So I think it's more if you want to play around with like the design.
I saw it being used last year at AU where they were actually generating architecture more like you use Grasshopper and Ryan.
Yeah,
Creating, you could plug it into Revit, but you could also use SAT files. So it was kind of generative design.
So yeah, it's generative design.
They
Yeah.
haven't updated it for a long time.
Sorry.
They haven't updated it for a long time,
Yeah.
and they've just brought out Sandbox now for Circle Line, so they're
Right.
probably going to.
Yeah. And I think it's got quite a lot of limitations because lots of the nodes you can't use in Dynamo for Revit, you can't use in Dynamo Studio. But some talk, I mean, the people that are organizing today's event, we're all kind of being specialists, managers, support people. So, and you must have seen the scripts. One of the slides from Jasper were all about task automation. We haven't gone too much into using it as a design assist tool. So it would be quite interesting, or I would be very happy to see if there's anybody here that would like to explore that part of Dynamo and kind of teach it to the rest of us. I think the only design assist tool, I guess for JazzMix, we have one to create a floor that follows the slope of the topography. That's as far as we got. Yeah, and then you can use it for height planes, or one to create a fence that follows the topography with adaptive components. So adaptive components, that's another one. You really need to create that one if you want to be with a Dynamo. Yeah, they can be quite powerful. So, yeah.
Where's the tool?
That's a very important question.
Just with the package node paths, I really struggled setting that up in my office because everyone's computer didn't want to link to the server so I could manage everyone's. But then there was this weird thing with Internet Explorer, you added the server as a trusted site and then everyone could link to it and I could manage everyone's packages.
That's interesting.
It took a while to figure out and someone helped me online, but it was really helpful.
Okay, no, I've never heard that one.
Our experience has been it's slower to access, to open up Dynamo when you're trying to load the packages from the server. Because the way we run it is our BIM manager in Sydney sets all of this up for us, and we have to probably go to Sydney to pick up the packages, so it's really slow. So for us, what we do, we just deploy all of the packages to everyone's laptop, and it provides the flexibility if they want to work from home or experiment at home. They still have the nodes and packages there available and do their own thing and try it out. If they need to run, our Dynamo player scripts are on the laptop as well, so it just makes it that if they're working offsite, they can still have access to them.
That's a good comment. You should probably share the...
It's online. The guy who showed me what happened wrote a thing about it because lots of people were struggling with it. It's just a weird thing.
No, the good thing about Dynamo, really, the community online is great. And I was telling someone else earlier, every time I posted something on the Dynamo forum, I always get a reply within 24 hours. So people really have nothing to do because But yeah, no, it's really great support. It's been, and it's great if you want to start, because like people are so willing to help you. I mean, they won't give you the whole script, but if you just show a little bit of initiative, they really go the extra mile to try and help you out.
It's the same with textual programming when you go to Stack Overflow, that it's a very large community of programmers. And yeah, it's almost the same. I mean, I think that most of the problems that we just spotted on the questions are related to actually what I tried actually to explain a little bit, but it's difficult to manage Dynamo. I mean, to me, it's difficult to manage Dynamo in a production environment. There are, other approaches like the one I showed, actually using DLLs, so actually using API for Revit, API by Revit, and developing add-ins. Those are more solid, are more effective in a production environment. Dynamo, to me, it's a very powerful tool, but yeah, when things get complicated and get big, Dynamo is a little bit tough, especially because the more you use third-party scripts, the more you are not just becoming lazy, but you are actually being dependent on multiple sources. So that's a good point. I don't remember who said that, but actually that we need to, if it's possible, we need to have our own stuff. And last thing, it's an open source project, but open source software has its own licensing and copyright as well. We cannot, just copy and paste code from whatever and just because it's free. That's another point that we need to consider.
I've got a question for you guys. Talking about Dynamo and design, who in here would be interested to do more of that or hear more of that? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right.
Has anybody got any experience already? Don't worry, I won't tell you that you will need to do the next presentation.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
What sort of rabbits we can pull out the hat?
I'm very fresh to the Dynamo, so you might find my question is very stupid.
No question is stupid.
Is Dynamo, is it project-based or can we use it for family creation? So that the script is adapted to the family setting and put it into different projects, or to make parameters with the formulas. Can Dynamo produce a formula for parameters?
I don't think so.
I'm not
I know
too
it
sure.
can create parameters, but I don't know that it can work directly with the dynamic.
Yeah, so you can, so if you have a family open, Dynamo can access, so you can do things within the family as well, not necessarily within the project.
Probably
That's
the place to look would be the Revit API. Because that would
Yeah.
be an API limitation rather than whether Dynamo can do it or not.
Yeah, so maybe, going
I
a bit
know
further.
you can create a geometry in Dynamo and push it in as a Revit category family, but that's about as much as I think it can do. I haven't come across a case where you can use Dynamo to set up your parameters and within a family environment to create a family.
Yeah, I
It'll be
think
a
what's
static
more-
family most of the time.
I think with the power of Dynamo is more controlling the parameters of our already existing family. So if you have a parametric family, Dynamo can
I've played with nodes that take objects and actually generate families, geometric families.
Yes.
They're allocated generics or whatever.
That's right.
But when you open up those families, they're not very good.
Yeah, I've ended up being very dumb families that you can't
Yeah.
really figure that. Yeah.
Very basic
You
stuff.
can't drive them.
Yeah.
I think you can also create shared parameters on families.
Not sure, I haven't gone down that far yet, but yeah.
I think both of them do that.
Yeah.
I know I can access a good help file through the Revit developer APK to find all of the classes and libraries and how we can manipulate them. Is there a similar resource with Python?
Sorry?
Python, is there a help file within or the Python language that describes all the classes and libraries?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it is.
There is.
anything that Revit API can do.
Would be.
Yeah, anything that Revit API can do, Python can do. So it's always the question about.
The ones I've found for the Revit API are all in
Yeah.
C# and the likes. Is there one for Python that you know of?
Oh no, that I know. But I think
there's a very small section in a website called Revit API. That it's not the official one by Autodesk. It's another project actually trying to keep together the sections of the Revit API source development kit. The problem is that that website looks to me a little bit, it's not updated, I think anymore, because I don't see even the 2019 API published. So, and in that website you have a section for Python, but you don't have everything. What I do usually, I can use Python, I can use C#. What I do usually, I just figure out, in Python, following the structure that I can see from C#, and I just do a reverse engineering in my brain in terms of how the library and how the API actually is put together, because actually it's more or less it's the same. The syntax of the two languages are pretty different, very different, but yeah.
Can you mimic it in the macro developer within Revit first, so that guy calls from?
Yeah,
that has Python as a language, and no, doesn't have Python, it has Ruby, doesn't it?
You can use Python as a macro Revit language. Yes, you can. You can in the macro.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could perhaps get the calls from there.
Yeah, but you don't have Revit. Unfortunately, doesn't provide you with record macro tools like we do have in other softwares, and that's unfortunate because sometimes it's quite easy, to record what you are doing manually and to just grab, or to put together a preliminary version of what you want to achieve, and
like
then
Excel.
like Excel, like other stuff. But I found there are few websites very, very interesting if you want to actually to explore programming for Revit. The first one is the one by Jeremy Tammick, that is the guru of this of this thing, and that's called the Building Coder, and that one is really, really a very good source of information, and and from there you can expand whatever you want.
But to answer your question, there's nothing that the Revit API can do that you can't do in Python.
Just knowing how to make the call.
Yeah, it's just knowing how to translate. Yeah.
That's my stumbling block.
Yeah.
Actually, so I just went online and checked the Revit API, and there's no Python there, but then there are tools online with Google to convert your code in C# or VB.NET or something else into Python. And some of them are
I'm pretty sure that there's a section on Python.
Yeah. And if you post on Stack Overflow, the guy who ported it from C+ to C# to Python, he answers pretty happily.
Yeah.
And so a couple of times there's a couple of times it's not easy. So there's a couple of workarounds that you have to do to convert it from variable type to something else that C# will take. But the guy replies real quick.
Yeah, Python is pretty different from C# and other languages because of it's a bit long topic, and it's not really actually my field of expertise, because we have programmers here and basically they know a lot better than me the differences. But actually Python is more that's why it's becoming the most used languages, one of the most used languages around, because it's more let's say forgiving in the data type management. So you can so my point is when you translate from one language to the other, it's not just substituting, for example, using semicolons at the end or whatever. There's also other structural, let's say, aspects that you need to consider. Also, especially if you want to optimize the code and you want to achieve performance. Because when you want to code something, it's because not just to expand the possibilities, but also to give you performance on what you're doing. Because sometimes what it works for small models actually doesn't work for big models. That's when, I mean, optimizing and giving a little bit of structure at the program becomes really important. Because what you don't want to spend a lot of time of coding something that eventually doesn't work for someone. Because, but yeah, that's